Ellie, it's Appel, right?
Yes, it is, Scott.
Whenever I voice dictate you, I have to say it wrong because if I say it the right way, it goes to the wrong person.
All right.
All right. So what's your nickname? Remind us. Is it three cap or four cap, two cap?
A lot of people know me as Ellie Two.
Mm-hmm. So Ellie, I love that, by the way. It's so memorable. So tell us what because you've been doing this for what, like what you're 17, right?
So I've been doing it a little over a decade. My last year at UCLA, I was interning and grand running.
That's amazing. So if I was that focused at your age, I would be retired right now. That I just don't know what made you decide to go into this because you're very respected. You're very seasoned, but you're younger than most of the guys that I network with or that I do business with, and I would put you up against any of them.
Scott, I mean, if you wanted to retire now, I'm sure you could. You just do this because you love helping people. I know. And you have a huge heart. But what got me into passive income and commercial real estate and multifamily in particular is my Bubby, my grandmother, lived in Romania. She came to Montreal and then, moved to sunny California, and she came here without any money,
Mm-hmm.
And with the little money that she was a butcher because she
Mm-hmm.
survived the camps and she knew what it meant not to eat. And she was maybe 5 feet, and my dad's 6'2.5", so it was crazy what good nutrition does.
Uh-huh.
But ultimately, what she did is with the little money she made, she bought an apartment building,
Mm-hmm.
and that allowed her to have passive income. And when she retired, she was able to travel and not have to work. And that's really what got me excited about multifamily. I want to be able to work because I want to, like you, Scott, and I love what I do.
That's awesome. I do have to say, so you call her Bubby?
Bubby, our grandmother.
Okay, Bubby. I've never heard it. So, does anyone ever call her Bubby the Butcher?
No, I haven't heard that one before.
That might not fly around the holiday table, right? Around the dinner table.
Or maybe Thanksgiving.
Yes, that's totally different. Um, so Ellie, I got to tell you that it's interesting because I know a lot of guys that in the industry, and you know that I network a lot and stuff. I met you, and it was something about you right out of the gate. I'm going like, this guy really knows his stuff, and he's such a young guy, man. There's a real drive here, a real knowledge base, and when I heard people speaking about you, it sounds like they're speaking about a 50-year-old man, but they're talking about this young guy, this accomplished at such an early age. So I'm impressed by that. I'm also impressed by the fact that when I asked you, hey, you know something, tell me more about you, one of the first things that you said was, I like to seek to understand. And I thought, oh, that's great. Listening equals understanding to accomplish the client's goals more efficiently. And I went like, wow, he didn't get right into business. He got right into, okay, what does this person need and want, and how can I help them? And I think that's a big differentiator for you because it's just not just about the commission. So I just wanted to say I'm really happy to have you here, and I love your tone, who you are. And if you could just take a quick moment to just tell us, a little bit more about your business, your model, so we have a kind of a snapshot.
Thank you so much for having me. So, a little bit about me is I'm a multifamily listing broker. So my goal is really to accomplish the seller's goal. I'm
Mm-hmm.
known as Ellie Two Cap because I get sellers of apartment buildings high prices. If you don't know
Mm-hmm.
what, and for those that don't, I'm sure many of your audience knows what a two cap is, but if they don't, a cap rate is an unlevered return. So if a buyer puts 100% down, that's the buyer's return. There's an inverse correlation to value. So the lower the cap rate, the higher the purchase. So a low cap rate allows sellers to get high prices. So ultimately, I mean, I've been doing this about a decade, and oh
Mm-hmm.
no, excuse me, a little over a decade. And I'm excited to be on your platform because you have a lot of high-level professionals, and you share, and you have a lot of experts who share really, really valuable data. And I'm happy to share some of mine. And I think one one of the reasons why I had 30% Beverly Hills multifamily market share, which, was per CoStar, which is the commercial MLS, so the multifamily
Mm-hmm.
MLS,
Uh-huh.
is because of strategic knowledge. And I'm happy to share some of that strategic knowledge as well as how listening to clients' goals helps them accomplish their goals.
Awesome. Awesome. So listen, today is a lot about, it's going to be a lot about the real estate health, some of the crap that you've dealt with. It could be anything. And let's just talk about it. And it's not really something negative. It's just, we like to share stories that are interesting and fun, and where maybe we're able to, get a big victory in the end after going through the hell you went through. So
Sure.
the floor is yours.
Absolutely. So, really, I think what the question is, you'd like to hear some, challenges and deals and how I overcame them, how my team and I.
Yes.
So, looking back over the last decade plus of my career, I don't think I ever had a deal without challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And really the question is, how do I solve those challenges? And it's what we talked about earlier, really about listening.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's my superpower. I think listening and being client focused is really the best thing that you can do. I have a high standard of excellence. And more often than not, achieving for a client the highest price in the shortest amount of time to the most qualified buyer is what the client's looking to achieve. But by listening, you're able to find out something unique about every single deal, and accomplishing that for the client is how I overcome those challenges. So I'm going to tell you three.
Well,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you three stories about how listening helped me overcome. So the first story is about a family, working class family, who I was able to help them build multi-generational wealth. My client inherited an apartment building in, let's say, a C plus, B minus location. He inherited it from his dad, who was a waiter in this area. And with the tip money, he was able to buy this good mid-sized apartment building, over 20 units.
Wow.
My client, and this was over 40 years ago, my client inherited it recently, and he was working in a hardware distribution company. He was working really hard. I mean, he had 40-hour weeks, spending his nights and weekends painting, repairing, and maintaining this apartment building with the goal that that's going to lead him to financial independence and do what we're all looking to achieve. Work because we want to, not because we have to. And with all that hard work, 40-hour weeks, and then his nights and weekends, he was maybe bringing in an extra $5,000 a year from this apartment building. He was getting off-market offers and thinking, okay, it's great that I'm getting these offers, but what could I do with it? When we met him and we toured the units together, and we saw all the work that he did, we recognized that there's about an additional $500,000 of untapped value that that was there, and that he also helped create. We were awarded the listing, and with our exposure hitting not just local and not just regional, but national and international buyers, we closed $500,000 higher, 100% of list price, than a buyer from the East Coast, really beating out those local off-market buyers. So remember, we sold the building, and he was netting about $5,000 a year with making less than minimum wage when you think about it, with all his nights and weekends, from the apartment building, in addition to his 40-hour weekday job. So ultimately, we did a 1031 tax deferred exchange for him, and he bought an apartment. We flew together. We drove the building. We did the rent comps, and now he's netting $12,000 a month. As you can imagine, he's not working for that hardware distribution company anymore, and he's built a foundation to build multi-generational wealth for him and his family.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was it? I mean, I just don't know how you can like I look at the building. I just have a triplex, so I don't have a ton of units. But the upside to this over the past 20 years has been
Mhm.
sensational. Keeps going up and up and up. What was he doing wrong, or what was he doing that was keeping him making him so little money that he was barely even making minimum wage?
So for this particular building, he had a number of other inheritors. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
just him. And then ultimately, he wasn't able to capture real rent growth. In Los Angeles, there's
Mm-hmm.
rent control, and he wasn't able to go ahead and maximize it. One of the reasons why they call me Ellie is because I'm able to communicate the value to buyers of that, even though it may not
Mm-hmm.
um, be readily achievable now. It might.
Right.
There's a path and there's a narrative to get there at some point in the future. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, for him, the value was based off location. So he remodeled the property to another level. He also had to. It was an older building. It was 50s vintage. There was a lot of plumbing backup
Mm-hmm.
and a number of constant issues to make it.
All right. Well, I love what you do because in my business, it's all about figuring out what the highest use is for the property. So, or what we can do to get to the best net. So it sounds like that's what you did there. Is you're the one that figures out the plan to get you there, and it doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight. Like in our business, you do a seller mini flip, and a house that was going to be worth $1.5 million can be worth $2 million in like 3 months, just because you get in there and do the right things. But yours is a longer process, and so well, that's
Yeah,
great. Great. Give us another
you add a
story.
lot of value for your mini flips. I see that. You post them on social media. They
I
look great.
love doing it. I love doing it. And you said you were talking about your superpower earlier. My superpower really um, is surrounding myself with the best of the best. So it's the best photographer, it's the best plumber, it's the best CPA. It's being around guys like you, so that when someone says I'm looking on the other side of the hill and I'm looking to do this, I know that I've got the guy. And so that's why I network so much too, so I can become a great resource. And then of course I support my family with it. So thank goodness,
That's what it's all about.
make good money doing good by people. It works out
That's what it's
nicely.
all about. It's putting people with the right professionals. It's
Absolutely.
helping clients achieve their goals. And having a huge Rolodex like you do, Scott, and like I do.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The fact that you even know what a Rolodex is at your age, I'm very
Rolex or
impressed.
Rolodex?
Ro- I'm sure you know what a Rolex is. Here, let's see. What are you wearing? Yes. There we go. There we go.
So go ahead.
So, no, tell us another
So
story.
I'll tell you story number two. This story is about
Mm-hmm.
estate planning and why it's worth its weight in gold. I proposed on a building with a family who originally bought it, over 50 years ago. It was two couples who had great intention. They're like, okay, we're going to buy this building together. We're going to live in it. And ultimately, as we get older, it's going to give us passive income. And it helped them accomplish their goals. They lived in it. It gave them passive income.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge was unfortunately, they passed on. The challenge was that they didn't do an estate plan. There was at
Mm-hmm.
least two probates when got involved, and
Oh gosh.
and I'm sure and Scott, probates are long, public, and expensive.
Right. Right.
And ultimately, there was 16 sellers. Just for perspective, one of the beneficiaries had 2/504%. So,
Oh
so
my.
when we got involved, many of the sellers were getting older. So they were really at that point where this could have happened again. And so what we
Mm-hmm.
did is, aside from generating over 30 offers and selling it over list price, we saved this family from having a pretty complicated situation already with 16 sellers from becoming a
Mm-hmm.
nightmare. Because if one of those sellers, the older sellers, would have passed, we could have had 40 sellers.
Oh my gosh. This
Yeah.
is nuts.
Yeah.
So how? So is it? How? by getting them, you connected them with an estate planning attorney, or what was it what was the process in order to get all of them
So
together?
I have an incredible team, and
Mm-hmm.
ultimately it was connecting them with the estate planning attorney, working it through the estate planning process. We locating all the sellers. A lot of them didn't speak to each other. They didn't really even know each other. Locating the sellers. One of them we couldn't find for a while. Then he surfaced in a hospital in Central California, and
Mm-hmm.
ultimately working it, not just working through the math, which was at 2/504% it was ridiculous, but it was managing
Mm-hmm.
expectations. Scott, a lot of our business is listening and managing clients' expectations to help them accomplish their goals.
Right.
Managing one or two clients' expectations is not an easy task. Managing 16
Mm-hmm.
separate sellers while they're going through probate and having
Right.
those sellers have to explain to their beneficiaries and their individual families was a challenge in and of itself. So it's constant communication, updates, letting them know throughout the process, and really creating a team-like atmosphere. I think that was important. So we all recognize that we're all on the same team.
Love it. Great. So that was, by the way, as we're going through, I type titles. The title for that one is going to be called Two Probates, 16
I love
Sellers.
it. I love it.
There we go. There
So
we go.
this one I'm titling, Why Do I Have Leading Beverly Hills Multifamily Market Share? And this is story number 3.
Tell me. Let's do it.
Okay, so
Let's
a
do it.
family inherits a building. There's a step up in basis. So one of the family, the matriarch passed away, and it was very unfortunate. But the benefit for the family was that it helped relieve the family's tax burden upon sale. So I'm competing against a number of other brokers. Some of them I call Insta brokers. They really prided themselves
Mm-hmm.
that their marketing campaign and plan was that they had a large Instagram following. And apartment buildings don't sell like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was awarded the listing. I beat them out. And I went through my accelerated marketing plan. Okay. I was
Mm-hmm.
able to, not just take professional photographs and, aerials and, populate the aerials, but I was able to tell a story about why this was a special asset in Beverly Hills. I was able to crowd the room. I think this is one of the best ways to go ahead and get the highest price. I had 21 tours in a very short period of time. I created a
Mm-hmm.
competitive bidding environment, and we closed
Right. Right.
quickly. So there was another building that was literally in the same pocket that was the same exact building. We were able to close $300,000 higher than that building.
Mm-hmm.
So by creating that marketing campaign, the accelerated marketing
Right.
plan, and crowding the room, we were able to achieve top dollar. So,
No, I love it.
what do these all have in common? I was listening to the client's goals, and I had the tools to achieve them. Tools like an
Mm-hmm.
exclusive representation agreement, which I know, Scott, is also one of your strongest tools to help clients, achieve what they would like. And then also the ability to leverage my firm, Marks and Millichap, which has 2,000 agents, and they're also national and
Mm-hmm.
international with offices in Canada, which gave the sellers an edge and helped them see what they wanted to achieve.
That's awesome. That's awesome. LE Two Caps Accelerated Marketing Plan. Boom. There's your title right there. Well, so tell me something about a cause or a charity or something that's
So,
dear to your heart.
Scott, I'm going to give you two. I'm going to give you two. One, you touched upon family, and family is extremely important to me. Family and family values. So, charities that help widows and orphans are some of the most
Mm-hmm.
impactful for me. They're really the reason why is you want to help people who really need it most. The second real causes that I like is every single um, uh, commission that I earn, I give 10% to charity. So, so
Wow.
just listening to clients and understanding what's important to them, not just professionally, not just, for the marketing of their asset, but also personally. Hearing
Mm-hmm.
what they do, I enjoy learning, and for them,
Mm-hmm.
partnering with them in their causes is very special to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. You know who else does that? And this is what I'm going to introduce you to. On the west side, do you know
It
Anthony
sounds familiar. His
Margulies?
name sounds familiar.
Amalfi Estates. We started a mastermind group together because I just really liked him. But there's like two or three people said we had to meet. And I'm going, okay, why? Just tell me the compelling reason. Because he's out of area. We can help each other out. This is great. I love meeting great agents. Love it, great agents. So tell me why. You know what he does? And they talked about all the work and what he does. And then they go, and he gives 10% of his of everything that he makes to charity. He and his team. And like last year, I guess they gave like $1 million. It's crazy, right? And I said, I have got to meet this crazy guy because this guy is this. If anyone who would do that, I have got to meet. So we sat down. We met at the Lux. I don't remember where I have lunch with everybody, but I remember him because we sat there and he was just so laid back. He goes, Scott, it's just money. It's just money. It's no big deal. And it's just, I just was very impressed. Now, you're the first commercial guy I've ever heard say that. I think that's absolutely fantastic. There's going to be millions of dollars that, during your life that people are going to benefit because of your generosity
That
and
is
your
the
heart.
goal.
I
I'm a
love it.
man of faith, and it's part of my core values. And it's not my money. That's really what it comes down to. And I
Mm-hmm.
get it. That's not mine. That's for people who need it.
Dang, that's nice. That sends a little chill down my spine. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is great. This is I've probably got too much stuff on you. That's
I
that's
love
how
it.
good it
I
was.
love it.
And now I know that all I have to do is go to my balcony and I'll call you and we can wave to each other because the fact that we're right next door, we've probably driven by each other
Mm-hmm.
1,000 times. I think every time I come in, I might call you and then honk my horn to you or something. We're gonna have to figure out something fun to do,
Absolutely.
being
I
neighbors
think
like
I
this.
just joined a wine club, the Oxnard Winery, and I take a lot of my clients there for closing dinners or lunches. So
Uh-huh.
next time I go, I'm gonna bring you back a bottle of wine.
I like it. I'll take it. I'll take it for sure. Ellie, thank you very much for coming here, especially on a Friday night. You're a family man. I know, and
Friday
you're a hard
afternoon.
worker.
Friday
So,
afternoon. But yes, it's a
yes.
pleasure, Scott. Thank you so much for having me.